Yeah, somebody might want to know how many lessons and modules and live calls are in your program or your course, but that's not what's going to make somebody get off the fence and decide whether to buy or not. What they really want to know is, will this work for me? Is it possible for somebody like me in my situation to get this result, to have this desired outcome? How is this any different from every other solution that I've already tried and already failed at? Welcome to Imperfect Action. I'm Steph Taylor. For years, I read all the books, downloaded all the freebies, and did all the courses. But it wasn't until I started taking imperfect action that my business had its first $1 million year. Imperfect action is about doing things before you're ready, prioritizing consistent action over perfect action, and moving forward, even when you're not sure you're doing it right. On this show, you can expect mindset advice, actionable marketing tips, and strategies to build a business that brings you more profit, more freedom, and even more joy. Are you on the list to get my daily Biz Boosters? Every day, I'll send you a bite-sized prompt designed to help you grow your business in a more intentional way. Sign up at stephtaylor.co/DBB or at the link in the show notes. Hey, welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 672. Today, we are talking launch tweaks, the little tweaks you can make in your next launch to have a big impact on the sales that you make. Now, the smallest tweaks often make the biggest difference when it comes to selling your online courses, memberships, group programs. And you can follow the best launch plans. You can emulate what you see all of the big names doing in their launches. But until you get that underlying strategy right, you're not going to see those results in your launch. So today I'm sharing 7 little things that might not sound super sexy, super shiny, but they will make a really big, measurable difference to your launch. So launch tweak number 1, do your audience research. The biggest thing that will impact your launch results is how well you understand your audience. And you might think that you understand them really, really well, especially if you've been working with them for years, but you can't skip this step. And sure, you can send out a survey, you can get those surface level insights. Those are pretty useful. But what really makes a big difference is diving below the surface. And the best way to do this is on some kind of call, a Zoom call, phone call, somewhere where you can ask those follow-up questions. You know, when they tell you that they are feeling overwhelmed, now you can ask them, well, what specifically is overwhelming you? And then you can understand what's really going on for them. And your launch content can speak to what's really going on in their minds and in their lives. And the result of this is that when you write that launch content and that sales copy, your ideal client who is reading it, they're going to think, oh, wow, they really get me. This is right for me. This is the right offer for me. Okay. The second launch tweak is to understand the magician's gap for your ideal client. Once you have done your audience research, you might start to see that there's a big knowledge gap between where your ideal client is right now and where they need to be ready to buy from you. And until you bridge that gap, it's going to be a lot harder for you to sell to them. And this exists with literally any offer. It's not just with courses and group programs and memberships or anything that you're live launching. It exists with literally anything you are selling. The only difference is that live launching is this journey where you are helping your audience to bridge that gap in real time with you. Basically, the entire purpose of your launch is to bridge this gap and to help your audience to make a decision about whether your offer is the right one for them or not. That's all it really is. So once you've uncovered the magician's gap, now you can create content that bridges the gap. You can create a launch-specific lead magnet that bridges it. You can create a webinar that bridges it. And I go into the basics of the magician's gap inside module 1 of Launch Magic. And at the end of July, I'm running an exclusive free event for people who are on the Launch Magic waitlist only, where I'll be teaching module 1 live in a Zoom call. So if you are not on the waitlist, make sure you get on the waitlist. DM me on Instagram. I'm there at stephtaylor.co. Send me the word magic, just magic, and I will automatically add you to the waitlist. Or if you're not on Instagram, you can get on the waitlist at stephtaylor.co/magic. Okay, launch tweak number 3. stop talking in expert language. And this one isn't easy because it requires you to put yourself in your ideal client's shoes and to think about how they are experiencing the problem that your offer solves. James Wedmore has this fabulous analogy that really made this idea click for me, where he talks about how your audience is going out there in the world, they're walking around with a headache, and you are the expert in headaches, and you know that their headache is caused by dehydration. But if you go to them and say, hey, here's a cure for your dehydration, they're going to say, no, thank you, I've just got a headache, right? And that's how so many of us approach that content. We're coming at it as the experts because you've probably spent a lot of time learning about the thing that you teach. So it's really hard then to take that step back and think about, how is my ideal client experiencing this? What is actually going on in their lives? And if your content isn't getting the right attention online, it's possibly because you are talking to them in expert language, which then leaves those ideal clients thinking, oh, this isn't for me. This isn't what I need. This isn't the solution to my problem. And they keep scrolling. Okay, launch tweak number 4. Spend less time talking about the features and benefits of your offer during cart open and spend more time helping your potential buyers to make a decision. Yeah, somebody might want to know how many lessons and modules and live calls are in your program or your course, but that's not what's going to make somebody get off the fence and decide whether to buy or not. What they really want to know is, will this work for me? Is it possible for somebody like me in my situation to get this result, to have this desired outcome? How is this any different from every other solution that I've already tried and already failed at? So during cart open in a launch, instead of counting down the days until doors close and hoping that you'll pressure somebody into buying at the last minute because they don't want to miss out, instead, how can you help them to make an educated decision about whether your offer is the right one for them or not? Launch tweak number 5, send out a non-buyer survey. So after doors close, send a survey to the people who chose not to buy. And I know this feels so scary. It's like asking somebody who dumped you to tell you everything that's wrong with you. That's essentially what it is, right? But this is the most effective way to identify the gaps in your launch strategy and your launch content. You will get a much better understanding of any of the knowledge gaps that you maybe didn't address in your launch content, or any of the questions and hesitations that you didn't address in your cart open content if you simply ask people why they chose not to buy. And if you're really nervous about reading those responses, you're not alone, right? I like to sit down with a friend or with a glass of wine when I read these because it can feel a little bit personal sometimes. And I've had some in the past that have really annoyed me. Somebody told me they wouldn't spend more than $50 for my course that's actually $2,500. But I also know I need to take those kinds of responses with a bit of a grain of salt because not everyone who is answering that survey is my ideal client, right? So I pay attention to what people have said, but I also know to differentiate between who is the ideal client and who isn't. Launch tweak number 6, collect social proof and actually leverage it. And ideally, don't ask somebody, hey, can you write me a testimonial? Because that's going to put them on the spot and they're probably going to write something like, this was a really good course. I got a lot of value out of it. It was really easily taught and I liked the teaching style and the lessons were really good. And yeah, that's nice, but it's not super useful. It's not going to help somebody to make a decision about whether it's right for them or not. So instead, ask a past student to jump on a call and ask them questions about their experience, or create a survey with specific questions about their experience rather than just asking them to write a testimonial, and then take the answers that they give you and turn those into a testimonial and then send that testimonial to them to approve or make any changes if they want to. This process works so much better, so much more effectively than can you write me a testimonial, because they want to give you a good testimonial, but they don't really know how to craft a testimonial that's effective. And then tweak number 7, grow your audience between launches. Your first launch is going to be pretty easy because you've probably got a fairly warm audience. Even if it's a tiny audience, they're probably pretty warm. The second launch gets a little bit harder because now you need to get some new people into your email list, into your social media audience. And that means intentionally growing your audience, either organically or with paid ads. And one of the bonuses that I offer with Launch Magic each round is the Audience Growth Booster. That's 30 days of little actions that you can take to intentionally grow your audience for your next launch. Every student gets this with Launch Magic. It's a bonus, but every student gets it. And if you jump on the waitlist for Launch Magic, you'll be the first to know when we open doors at the end of July. You'll also get that invite to the early bird or the waitlist only event where I'm teaching Module 1 live. To get on the waitlist, DM me the word magic on Instagram. I'm at stephtaylor.co over there, or visit stephtaylor.co/magic and you'll be able to sign up for the waitlist over there as well. That is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.